Fallout New Vegas is pretty heavily praised, and I agree. It's one of my favorite games ever made. But there's so many quests that some of them are bound to not be that great. I'm going to be ranking every single side quest in New Vegas from worst to best. Now before getting into the list, I do want to clarify that I'm just covering the side quests. So main story quests like the Hoover Dam stuff and all of that, I'm not going to be covering that here. Maybe I'll make a video in the future, but not right now. I'm also not going to be covering the unmarked quests. There's a lot of those. I think that I actually will make a video on the unmarked quests because there's some pretty good stuff in there. Now without further ado, let's just get right into the list. Now for these first 6, I don't even have footage for them because they're barely even quests. They're more like notifications almost. At number 80, we have The House Has Gone Bust. I don't really even understand this one. As soon as you go into Mr. House's chamber, you get this quest and then immediately fail it. I guess it's just kind of to show that like you can't side with Mr. House anymore, but you already kind of know that, like you're going down there to kill him, of course he's not going to be able to side with him. At number 79 we have Beware the Wrath of Caesar. Now this one is just a notification letting you know you're on bad terms with the Legion. And at number 78 we have the same thing, which is Don't Tread on the Bear. It's just the NCR version of that. At 77, we have Caesar's Hire, which is just a Legion guy telling you about some boxes. It's barely even a quest, it just kind of lets you know the location of the boxes. And at number 76, we have Caesar's Favor, which is pretty much the exact same thing, just a little bit better. At number 75, we have the Emergency Radio, which this quest is given whenever you use the NCR emergency radio. You have to be on good terms with the NCR to get it. There's nothing really here, but I think that having a radio to talk to in the NCR is kind of a cool idea. At number 74, we have The Moon Comes Over the Tower. Now this one is especially disappointing as there's a ton of content that was planned. Originally you're going to have to go to multiple places to find information, but in the final game it's incredibly lackluster. Coming in at 73, we have Cold Cold Heart, and this one could have just been an unmarked quest, and I wouldn't have noticed the difference. Just talk to one person and that's it. At 72, we have Keep Your Eyes on the Prize. Now this quest sends you to investigate Nipton, which you're already going to for the main quest anyway. I just don't really see the point in this at all. Number 71 is Pressing Matters. You just go somewhere and push a button. Very boring. Nothing really to it. At number 70, this is probably the first like real quest that we have in here, is Hard Luck Blues. Now, there is an interesting moral choice at the end, but by the time you get there, at least for me, I was too tired to even care. The whole vault is a maze filled with radiation, and it's such a pain to get through. I didn't have any fun with this one really at all, so that's why it's ranked so low for me. Coming in at number 69, we have Can You Find It in Your Heart? I actually quite like this one, but there's not enough to justify a higher spot. You literally just go kill some ants. At number 68 is Sunshine Boogie. This one is also quite boring. You have to repair some solar panels. The only interesting thing about it is that you can salvage parts from Helios 1, but aside from that, it's just another part of the lair and I don't like it. At number 67, we have Eddie, My Love. I always thought it was EDE, but no, it's Eddie. So this one is just completely overshadowed by the Lonesome Road DLC, and I just didn't find it as interesting since there's an obviously better story in the DLC that involves Eddie. And also, this quest glitched out on me. I was trying to talk to the old lady who's supposed to trigger part of it, and it just didn't work. At number 66, we have Eyesight to the Blind. This is just a fetch quest. There's nothing more to really discuss about it. At number 65, we have No, Not Much. This is just a collection of fetch quests, so it's a little bit better than 66, but not by much. At 64, we have Anywhere I Wander. I like this quest. There's a cool cave, and you have to save some soldiers, but there just isn't really enough to it. And there's some other quests that have the same sort of kidnapping scenario, but just done better. At number 63, we have Tend to Your Business. Now, all this is just you having to wipe out the Van Graffs. Now, I don't find this very interesting because the same exact thing is a part of Cass's quest, and I think it was done a lot better there. At number 62, we have We Will All Go Together. This quest was really buggy for me and in general was just a pain. Also, my footage got corrupted, adding insult to injury. At 61 is Ant Misbehaving. This one is very similar to the other Ant, except this time they explode, which is interesting. Coming in at number 60, we have I Hear You Knocking. I don't have footage for this one, but basically you just repair the howitzer, which doesn't even do all that much in the final battle. Just disappointing. At number 59, we have Unfriendly Persuasion, which I actually like this one. You get to talk to Marcus, who was in one of the original games, I don't remember which, and you have to sort of sort out this thing with these mercenaries where you can either kill them or talk them down, and then Marcus prefers if you talk them down, so that's normally what I do. But there just isn't enough to this to really justify a higher spot. At number 58, we have Left My Heart. You rescue some slaves, which is pretty cool, but there's nothing else to it, making it way too short to really be considered a quest. I think this could have been unmarked. At 57, we have Booted. Now, you rescue some NCR troopers. This one is only higher up because there's special dialogue with Boone, and it's kind of interesting how you find out about it is through a powder ganger, which I just like the powder gangers. At number 56, we have Bitter Springs Infirmary Blues. Now, this quest doesn't really have much to it, but it is interesting that you can have Arcade Gannon actually give the doctor medical training if you have him with you. Number 55 is Back in Your Own Backyard. Similar to Anywhere I Wander and Booted, except this time there's some cool parallels to Boone's story. If you come here without Boone, it's pretty lame though. Number 54, we have Feeble Will. This feels like it could have just been an optional part of Beyond the Beef. It's only ranked this high because I think the story behind the hatred of this rancher guy is kind of interesting. At 53, we have Classic Inspiration. I like that you're given a camera, but it's really just a way to get you to explore the map more. At 52, we have Don't Make a Beggar of Me. This one is pretty fun. You help the cons out delivering drugs and such, but it's a bit too short. Now at number 51, we have Wheel of Fortune. Now I just find this one pretty boring, to be honest. I think other people like it. If you disagree, just, leave a comment down below. At number 50, we have There Stands the Grass. Now this is a bit controversial. I know a lot of people love this quest. And I agree, it has some really cool aesthetics. I like the grass, and it's a very memorable vault. But, well, I just find the quest itself really boring. I don't like going through the vaults. I get lost. It feels like a maze. I just don't like these vaults in general. A lot of them are just confusing, and it's just annoying to navigate. At 49, we have Boulder City Showdown. Most of the time you'll do this one as a part of the main quest, but technically it's considered a side quest, so we have it in here. Now, I do like that you can talk down the Great Khans, or you can just go in guns blazing, or you can sneak in and try to take away the NCR guys, but it's just too short to really put up higher. Coming in at number 48, we have The Finger of Suspicion. Now, this one is interesting. I like how you use Vault 21 and the part with the Omertas. It's kind of short, but I like it. Number 47 is Medical Mystery. Now this is a fun mystery, and although I was able to guess who it was pretty fast, it took me a while to actually get the evidence, which is the hard part of the quest. And I really like these detective style quests. I wish there was a lot more of them. There's a decent amount, I just wish there's more and longer ones. Number 46, we have Eye for an Eye. It's cool. Sneaking around Cottonwood Cove and taking out the whole camp is a lot of fun. Overall, just a great quest. Number 45 is Young Hearts. Part of the Boomers quest, you help this guy meet up with the girl he likes, and you also have the option to send her into the sort of this bombing area without any kind of warning, and they'll just blow her up with like rockets or something. So that's pretty messed up, but it's interesting that you have like the choice to just do this evil thing. At number 44, we have Bleed Me Dry. You collect eggs from different species. There's not a whole lot to it. I don't think there's really like story to it. It just sort of gives you a reason to fight Deathclaws and stuff like that, which is interesting, because otherwise you just avoid these things. At number 43, we have My Kind of Town. Now this is to find a new sheriff for Prim, and you have the option to reprogram the robot, or you can go and get this outlaw pardon from the NCR, or you can have NCR come in and help. I'm pretty sure this one actually has an ending slide, which is pretty cool, and no matter what you do, the guy who gives you the quest will complain about it anyway, which is pretty funny. At number 42, we have Return to Sender. Although the ending is very memorable and it's cool that you can bring up Caesar's death, it kind of feels like a glorified fetch quest in a lot of ways, and most of the ranger stations don't have really anything to them. I was going to put this one up higher because of the Ranger Sequoia, but apparently that's not even like a unique weapon. You can pickpocket it from rangers if you're high enough level. Also, you have to get what's in my opinion a bad ending to even get the Ranger Sequoia, so I don't know. Plus, you can just pickpocket it anyway, which just defeats the whole point. At 41, we have We Are Legion. Now, this is just restoring hope, but from the other side, and like most things in this game, the Legion version is not as developed as the NCR counterpart. Number 40 is Restoring Hope. Leading an attack on Nelson is pretty cool, and that's about all I have to say for this one. Just a little bit better than the Legion version, but not by a whole lot. Number 39 is Cry Me River. This one is short but also very memorable. You'll help out an aspiring poet leave the Great Khans because he doesn't fit in. I always just liked this one. At 38, we have Climb Every Mountain. I like this one. It's a lot more interesting than the other fetch quests nearby. Sort of go into this cave and you have to fight or talk down this Great Khan. It's an interesting little quest and I like the backstory. Number 37 is the Legend of the Star. I like the star bottle cap thing because it gives you a reason to explore more, but I never care enough to actually go around looking for them. The reward is an energy weapon, which I don't really use anyway, so I don't have the motivation to do the quest either. And at number 36 is a valuable lesson, which is just another part of this bottle cap thing. Number 35 is Heartaches by the Number. Now this is Cass's companion quest, and it's fairly boring. You just travel from caravan to caravan, and then eventually decide to either turn in or kill the Van Graffs. I like the choice, and this one isn't really annoying to get through. I think it's a fun quest, going around to the caravans. So, I don't know, I just think it should have been longer. At number 34 is Come Fly With Me. This is a quest that I think has an interesting story, but really lame gameplay. You find this cult of ghouls that wants to travel to space and you help them out or not. I like Jason's character and it's cool that he goes to Novak afterwards. I also like the ghoul that you run into that threatens to shoot you. And the Nightkin with the skull is also interesting. What I don't like is having to go out and fetch supplies and walking back and forth a bunch of times. A lot of loading screens on this one. I just flat out find this annoying to play through. I enjoyed the creativity, but I didn't really like having the actual quest done, so that's why it's not higher up on the list. At number 33, we have High Times. I'd actually never done this one before the video, and I really enjoyed it. You help out some addicts and find out that Dixon is a pretty awful person, which was interesting, as I never thought much of the guy before. Gives a little bit more life to Freeside, which I think Freeside is probably my favorite area in the whole game. So yeah, I really like this one. Number 32 is Flag of Our Foul-Ups. I like this one a lot. It's pretty simple, but I think it's charming. You just help some NCR recruits using your skill points. Number 31 is You Can Depend on Me. This is what leads you into Cass's quest, but is bigger and leads into some other quests. I like working for the caravan and delivering things. It makes you feel like an actual courier, which is interesting. Number 30 is Valair. Valair is the boomer's quest and requires you to help around the boomers, and then you go underwater to lift up this plane, which I really like. You even get this item that lets you breathe underwater, which is really nice. At number 29, we have Abu Daba Honeymoon. This quest has you helping the Great Khans, and the main highlight is going to a vault filled with fiends to meet Motor Runner. But if you want to get NCR credit, you've got to kill him, and you can meet up with Anders, who's a soldier that was sent there but got trapped surrounded by these lunatics. Number 28, we have Debt Collector, which is exactly what it sounds like. You go around collecting debts. This one is mostly up here because of the variety of options, and I like using the speech skill. At number 27, we have the Coyotes. You're sent to investigate some missing refugees, and while it's not hard to find the culprits, I still really like the detective feelings to this one. I think I mentioned it earlier, but all these detective quests I just think are great. Number 26, I'm not even going to try to pronounce, it's Arcade Ganon's quest. This is the companion quest for Arcade Ganon, obviously I just said that. and you find out that some random NPCs you've encountered are actually ex-Enclave members, and you get to bring them back together again. I really like how these random NPCs that you didn't really think anything of before are given an interesting story later on. It's like finding out some kid in your elementary school class went on to become famous. It's just sort of a cool thing. At number 25, we have Crazy Crazy Crazy. This quest has you going to the top of Black Mountain to stop Tabitha, who's been causing all sorts of trouble, and you can even have a super mutant help you out. It's a challenging climb and a lot of fun. And while not really part of the quest, Rawl is also there, he's a companion. And speaking of Rawl, apparently his companion quest is unmarked, which is weird. I guess they thought he was less important than the other ones. Number 24 is I Can Make You Care. This is Veronica's companion quest, and it's only this high because I like the Brotherhood in the game, and the decision is interesting. Number 23 is 3-Card Bounty. This is the classic bounty hunter quest, and it's great. You kill this person and get a reward. That's all there is to it, except there's the added challenge of you can't use headshots, which I think really elevates this one. Another cool thing to mention is that NPCs actually go around like congratulating you because they're so happy that these psychopaths are gone from the wasteland. At number 22 is Guess Who I Saw Today. This is Lily's companion quest, and while the gameplay is pretty linear, I do like the part where you work with the doctor to find a cure. You have to have a really high, I think it's science skill or medicine. I'm pretty sure it's science actually, and that's how you get the great ending for this quest, but overall, I think Lily is just an interesting character. At number 21 is Still in the Dark. This is the Brotherhood quest. Now, the Brotherhood in this game is a lot more reasonable than in 3 or 4 in my opinion. They stay underground hoarding technology and actually can be convinced out of their ways, which is really nice. I especially like how the Brotherhood tests you on your first mission where you have to get this ranger to leave the area, and depending on how you do it, they react differently. At number 20 is Run Goodsprings Run. This one is just the opposite of Ghost Town Gunfight and not as good. I'll cover Ghost Town Gunfight in a little bit. At number 19 is Wang Dang Atomic Tango. You have to hire escorts for the Atomic Wrangler, and it's just overall a fun quest. It's also got a fan favorite robot in it. Number 18 is Someone to Watch Over Me. This quest brings more life into Westside. It generally is pretty fun. The only complaints I have is how the greasers look nothing like greasers. There's kind of these weirdos that hang out in the sewers. At number 17 is Bye Bye Love. I really like sneaking out of Gamora, and it really drives home just how awful the Emertas are. This one is kind of similar to High Times, just with a whole different struggle, and I think the whole story behind Carlitos and all that is interesting. This is a great quest. At number 16 is I Don't Hurt Anymore. This quest is written very well, and I feel like very few games could tackle this kind of subject matter in such a good way. At number 15 is Birds of a Feather. The bodyguard sequence is great, but the quest kind of falls off after that, forcing you to kill Cass, who's one of the few companions in the game, and I just barely ever do that. It's just not worth it. But you can also let this crazy guy blow up the store while you're on guard duty, which is pretty funny. So yeah, I like this one. At number 14 is Ghost Town Gunfight. This is probably the first quest you'll actually do in the game, and I think it's a fantastic opener. You'll help out Ringo with a gang that's coming to take over the town, and you use your limited skill points to convince the town folk to help you. You also have the option to join the gang if you just hate Goodsprings for some reason. At number 13 is Talent Pool. You're a talent scout for the Tops Casino, and you meet some interesting people to hire as musicians, comedians, just general entertainment stuff. The real interesting part of this quest is that you meet the son of the mysterious stranger who provides a little bit of background on his dad. At number 12 is GI Blues, and the Kings are probably my favorite faction in New Vegas. There's just a bunch of Elvis impersonators trying to make Freeside a safer place. The first part of the quest has you figuring out a scam artist who's a bodyguard hiring actors to make him seem more capable than he actually is. It's really funny how he messes up on how many bullets to shoot, which when you call him out on, he just tries to play it off like you ricocheted a bullet because he's just that talented. The rest of the quest has you looking around for information on what's happening with the Kings being accused of violence. Overall, it's just a great quest. At number 11 is Nothing But a Hound Dog. You help a robot dog get a new brain. I think everyone likes this one. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just a fan favorite. At number 10 is I Put a Spell on You. Another investigation quest. This one sees you sneaking around the radio tower at night, listening in on these guys' conversation to find out if he's a spy for the Legion. I like it a lot and you get a point with Boone for it too. Number 9 is Why Can't We Be Friends? Fleshes out the Powder Gangers a bit more, which is always good, and probably my favorite vault in the game, seeing as it's the only one that I don't get lost in. At number 8 is One for My Baby. This quest is very memorable and a lot of fun. It's a classic mystery where you chat with different suspects and find evidence to bring to Boone so he can reenact his revenge. It's kinda lame that the proof is just found in a safe somewhere, but it's still a great quest. Number 7 is I Fought the Law. I actually like the Powder Gangers a lot as a faction. They're not as organized as some of the other groups, but they're also not totally insane like normal raiders. You help them out in this quest doing simple things like scaring away people that come too close to the base and other stuff like that, until you're given the option to either side with them or turn them into the NCR. I think the prison is also a great choice for their base, and I wish there was more stuff here, but I really like what we did get. Number 6 is Oh My Papa. This is the quest that shapes the future of the Great Khans. You're given a lot of choices here and it's a lot of fun deciding what to do. I also like how that you can call out Caesar's guy in front of the Khans and they all just go nuts attacking him. Number 5 is That Lucky Old Son. This one is a classic again. Fantastic is one of the funniest characters in the game and the whole thing with the space laser is just great. Number 4 is The Whitewash. This is a murder mystery and is probably my favorite one in the game, because you find the guy pretty quick, but whether or not to turn him in is a genuinely interesting moral question. I can see arguments from both sides, which isn't something you see often in games. It's also significantly improved if you bring Arcade along for the ride. Number 3 is Beyond the Beef. Very memorable quest. Finding out the history of the White Gloves is really interesting, and pretty much all sides of this quest are well done. There's a lot of layers to it. I especially like the part where you talk to the guy in the bathhouse and he gets assassinated like a minute later. It's not even remotely subtle, and I think that's just great. There's also the cannibal that you can psychoanalyze and convince him to leave. You can also offer up your companions, which is a wild thing. The whole aesthetic is great too, with the weird white masks and the high dining stuff. Even if you didn't know about the cannibal thing, it's still pretty obvious these guys are creeps. At number 2, we have How Little We Know. This is the ultimate exploration into the Omertas and almost feels like an action movie. You help a mafia boss break up what the other bosses are planning, you blow up a giant shipment of weapons, find a serial killer, and trick 2 bosses into fighting. I love the aesthetic of Gomorrah, and it feels like the deeper you look into this quest, the more messed up you find out the Omertas are. Like, I didn't even know about Clandon until just for this video I was recording and I found the notes. Every time I redo this one, there's always something new to learn or another choice I hadn't done. At number 1 is I Forgot to Remember to Forget. A great name, and Boone's story is probably my favorite in the game. Even the quest introducing him made it pretty far up on the list. As you find out more about him, the pieces just fit into places in ways that I didn't see coming. It really is shocking when you find out the truth about his wife and his involvement in Bitter Springs, going back to try to find out how to feel, and the ending with the Legion ambush. The ending of his story after the ambush is also really satisfying. I think it's a great closer, and I feel like this quest is the perfect mix of story and gameplay. There's no point in this where I feel bored or confused or anything. It's just a great quest, and it's my personal favorite. That's why I put it at number 1. Now, if you disagree, this is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, dislike, all that stuff. I'm planning on stepping up my content in a big way, and this is just the beginning. So if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. Alright, thank you for watching.